All right, today we're working on finishing the interior in this 65 C10. I didn't build this truck. Customer brought it to me to finish up the interior and do some touch up. I guess the guy that did build the truck is no longer with us. He's passed away. So what I got to do, I'm not really sure what his thought process was here on his fabrication for the four-wheel drive shifter. So this is what was originally a two-wheel drive truck and turned into a four-wheel drive truck. I don't know if he had a plate that went over all that to make it look better, because there's a bunch of screw holes in it, but if he did, it's not like I can call him and ask him where that part's at. So when I put the rubber mat in here, the original style vinyl flooring, it's just not gonna, and I knew it wouldn't work, but I had to at least see where everything was gonna sit. You just can't get flooring to roll over sharp square objects. So I'm gonna have to cut out those pieces of metal, just weld it in there, kind of make a cover there, and then I'll put the flooring on. And then I just bought a universal shifter boot for like a Turbo 400, and I'll slide that over it. So I'll show you how we're gonna fix that. And then of course, normally I do all the welding in the interior before the gas tank's in. So I got that covered up with one of my welding blankets, one of my HFP 3-layer welding blankets. I'll put a link to that in the comments, and we'll get to this. All right, there's our template. We just made it out of construction paper. We'll trace that over to some metal and get it made. And once it's installed, we'll make our 2 edge pieces. All right, here's our piece put together. If you're doing it yourself, or you're doing it with minimal tools, I got the brake, but that's it. I don't have an English wheel or any really crazy tools. So I just made the 2 corner pieces, and I bent them just like this piece. I just make them a little longer. That way I can kind of set them into place, and then I just slowly cut down my edges to get it to fit. We'll pull this piece out, we'll weld it up, I'll round out my corners, and then she's ready to weld in. Well, she's all done and welded in. That's what the final project looks like. Sorry for the shadow, it's kind of goofy with the light here. Took about 10 hours to build that and weld it in. So I'll throw some black primer on it, and then we'll get the floor in. All right, there's what she looks like all done. Ended up buying a round boot cover just off Amazon, just a universal boot cover. It ended up fitting in there just perfect. And I think it looks pretty stock besides the goofy shifter they have here. And then our vinyl floor mat, you can see where it just rolls over it nice and smooth, and I don't have any sharp edges. So it looks nice and factory.